Hello and welcome to my devlog. This is a series I'm starting on a completely new channel where I'm going to go over how I'm developing my game, how things are going, new features, and stuff like that. So today I'm going to go over what the game is so far. I have probably worked on this for about 2 weeks, and I'm really hoping to have a playtestable version within the next 2 weeks. So if you're interested in that, I might make a Discord. Check the description, and you might be able to join and be eligible for playtesting. So to explain the game to begin with, this is going to be an idle game. I currently have no textures because I'm more concerned about the functionality than how it looks. So by the time this is released to public, it will look nothing like this. Hopefully, it'll be all colourful with pixel art and everything. So yeah, let's start with some of the features. So this is probably one of my ideas that I've had for a while that I've really wanted to work on. So we've got uh, the battles tab. This is where all the fighting takes place. Most of the idle features, but instead of the classic going through stages, instead it's gonna be based on a defeat counter. And the higher that the defeat counter goes, the changes how the enemies are scaled, and eventually you'll get basically infinitely drop skills from this. So stuff like maybe once you hit 100 defeats, you get, I don't know, 5% increase on damage, and then the next 200, another 5%. It just keeps on going. But I hope it's a little bit more unique than that, but we'll see. So the map is how we're going to change zones to different areas to get different skills. So at the moment, there's only one because it's going to be one of the last things I implement. And the first area is going to be like a slime-based area. You'll probably get slime-based skills. I'm not too sure on that yet. The next is training. I've actually got training kind of functional. So if I do that and find this one. So this is training. You select, so how it works, at the moment it's all completely free. Just gotta get rid of the pop-up. So how it works is that you press the plus button, and if you've got enough skill points or whatever I call them, this page will open up, and hopefully there'll be a lot more skills you can choose from as you go through the game. Oh, sorry, this is not skill. This is stats. A lot of stats you can choose from as further you go in the game. Maybe stuff that increase your XP gain, for example. But you choose from one of these, and you can then start a timer to train on it. And this is kind of loops onto the next thing, the clones, which are going to be renamed to Echoes when I can bother to do it, because it kind of fits in the name I've got in my head that I'm not going to share yet. But the clones will be what do the training for you. So if you want to do the training yourself while you go idle, you can. But the issue with that is if you want to battle at the same time, you won't be able to. So I can't set the main character to battle, and also train on attack, for example. I will show you how all this works in a minute, so don't worry about that too much. But let's say, for instance, I've got a clone, right? I can set that clone to the training while I'm battling. And the good thing about this is you can have clones on almost everything if you don't want to do the training yourself. Could be busted in the long run, but I'm hoping I can balance it somehow. So the echoes slash clones, I am planning to add some kind of like self-awareness feature to them where over time, if you don't look after them, they turn self-aware and you have to beat them. Something like they've got their own the skills they gain from training, and maybe some of your stat points as well. And finally, skills is just where you're going to be able to see your skills. Skills will be able to gain from progressing in battling, taking so many hits on a certain enemy, training a stat point to a certain level, all sorts, literally everything, defeating bosses and all that. So that is the basic concept behind the game. At the moment, it's probably around 20% of the way there before playtesting is ready, but we'll see how things go and I'll make weekly announcements. So I need to have this up. Actually, no, I don't need to have this up anymore. I forgot. So I'm now probably going to show how the game functions, and then I'll go over some scaling stuff. So let's press the plus button there. So it's going to be a bit cut off here because I've got this top stuff here, but if I click battle, you can click attack, and you will do one hit and he will do one hit. So don't worry too much about this being so manual. Probably when I have a playable version, there'll be a auto tick mark. I feel like the point is to be an opportunity to be more strategic about it. So there's no spamming this button, it's press attack. Yeah, but if you just want to rush through the early levels because you've trained a lot, you can. But yeah, all this functions. So the interesting part about this is that let's get myself a speed training. I'll also go. Oh, this does not want to work. This was working, but I don't know why it isn't working. So I'm going to be back in a minute, and I'll show you how it works. All right, so I think I figured it out. I might explain the issue in a minute, but okay. So yeah, if we come over here, we start training speed. Don't crash. Just give it a minute. So I'll explain this real quick. This little bar. So each level of speed requires a certain amount of successful trainings to be completed, and every single successful training has got percent chance to be success. Once this, it's a bar at the bottom here. I'm not sure you can see it on screen, but this will fill up slowly to mirror a timer that's going on in the background. And when it fills up, it has a set amount of percent chance to succeed in training. At the moment, it seems a bit busted from what I can see here. Actually, that's kind of balanced. I'll figure it out in the long run. But yeah, there is one issue is I could switch pages and this doesn't stop, but I do want it to stop. What is it? Has it stopped? No, it hasn't. Yeah, but okay. So now my speed is 5. So interesting part is now I attack 5 times. And this scales based on the speed of the enemy. So the slime only has speed 1, but if we kill it real quick, you know what, I might as well speed things up a little. Oh, whoops. You can only have one going, by the way. I implemented that before staying on the same page. I guess it doesn't matter at the moment until we get the echoes. Anyway, once we kill it, I should probably stop this training because I don't want to kill the next one too fast. Anytime today. There is more enemies apart from a slime. Not many more enemies, but just give me 1 minute. Come on. Unless I've somehow broken the Here is Big Slime. So Big Slime I think has a 2 speed, so I should only attack twice or 3 times. 1, 2. Yep, 2 times. So it depends on the enemy speed, and obviously this scales the further the enemies you defeat are. But something that I've added at the moment, but I'm not sure I'll keep, is when you reach 0%, you will go back to 0 defeats in an area. Now this might be a pain because you will have to go back to the last defeat number you're at to get back to the new skills, but at the same time, if you're stuck and you really need the XP, only being stuck in the same last, let's say five defeat zones, or if I can't figure another way out, basically that is the only way, because otherwise the player is going to be stuck. But yeah, for now, this is how it is. It might change, it might not. But yeah, let's move on to scaling. This part might be boring for some of you, but okay. So we will. I might as well show you this first, actually. So this is a training entry. Basically, it will create one of these every single time one is spawned in. So we got the button, the name is filled in, everything is there. So let's start with the battle scaling first. This might give me a minute to remember what's happening here. I really should be labeling my code. I forgot, but I did write all this, so I'll just have to figure it out. Okay, so at the start, it does a turn calculation, and the turn calculation does the enemy turns. So this determines how many turns the enemy turns get. If it's 0, it'll only get 1. Which, in hindsight, might be a bit busted, because if the enemy has got, like, I don't know, if basically the enemy's got super low speed, but still kind of decent for where it's at, but you've got like 5 times higher, it can only like attack once, while you can only attack 5 times. Might be something I need to think of, but for now it'll be good enough. But yeah, it will determine how many turns each people get. So the enemy will get the enemy speeds divided the player speed, and the player turns will be the player info, speed, and the enemy speed. And if any of them turn up 0, they will instantly get one turn, no matter what. I'll probably zoom in for you guys a little, shouldn't I? There we go. So next, it will call a function called enemy attack turns. So how this works is, let me read it. I do not know how this works. No, I do. So it determines the enemy damage by minusing the player's defense. This is a very basic scaling formula that might change. Again, I'm just trying to get the functionality going over scaling at the moment, so it might be a bit unfair. Same thing happened with players. And I'm unsure how it determines how many turns a player gets. Because we didn't look at... Okay, so here we go. This determines how many turns a player gets, so whatever the number is, it will basically do it every single 0.5 seconds. So I was thinking about, if I wanted to speed up the game, I could change this number to a variable. So let's say you take 2 times speed, it will half it to like 0.25. So you can speed up the game a little, but at the moment, it's just how it is. So yeah, so when you press the attack button down here, it will trigger the start battle. There is one bug with this, is that it doesn't stop if the enemy dies, which I thought is how it was working, but it wasn't when I last checked. But I've been too busy on the training to be bothered. So player information is all stored in here. A little bit sneak peek, I'm planning on adding evasion, but the main ones at the moment: speed, defense, attack, max health, and health. I am going to be adding modified attack. Just gonna add it in now to remember me. So to remind me, not remember me. So how this will work is that when you get boosts to your attack, like 5% extra, it will change this value instead, which will then be used in attack calculations. Because if it just needs a bit busted if you keep on adding 5% onto the new figure. It might add to some really high stats that I don't want, basically. So I'm going to be adding modified versions to be the final version that you use. While this one, it will just be the base, what you get from training, basically, and not skills. Level up is kind of easy. Grow points is what I call them. Might change the name, might appear differently on screen. Right. So the XP gain is the amount that the enemy drops. We'll show you in a minute. Level up, as you'd think, might be a bit busted on the formula there, because it'll be 200, then 400, then 800, then 1600. I might have to change that a little bit because it seems a bit busted. And then we got the player update UI. So this just changed what the screen is like. I need to add another one for grow points, and I need to add another one for defeat counter. So next is enemy information. Again, this part's not exciting. I'm just doing it for the sake of me and for anyone who watches. So how this works, very simple. It gets enemy data from... I know where it gets it from, I just don't know how it gets it. Yeah, but it gets all the enemy data from the stage manager, which I'll show you in a minute. That will be stored in here. Basically the exact same as the player information, but in a dictionary instead. So the enemy data is down in here. So next we have to go to, not the bottom bar, not clones, not skills. Where is it? So it goes, there it is, stage manager. Okay, so stage manager is one of the first concepts I learned when I make a prototype of this game. So the enemy pool is very easy. It will just choose 1 out of 2 here. And I just made a world name for the fun of it. Might change, might not, I don't know. So this guy doesn't have XP. Oh, he does. He's got 250. Whoops. How this works is it chooses 1 out of 2 from anything in this number, and it keeps track of the defeat counter here. So I'll have to add like some logic to say if 100 or if 10 unlock such and such a skill. Problem is how I'm going to stop it from being unlocked more than once, which will be easier than I think. And then this also might scale the enemy. So this sends over. Yeah, this all over is I'll have this enemy scaling works. So it sends it all the way to enemy information here, and the enemy scaling at the moment looks complicated, but it's definitely a lot easier than it looks. So it duplicates all the data, so it doesn't modify the dictionaries that already exist. So +1 will always guarantee that it will always have 1 HP just in case. No, they'll always be times by 1 just in case. As we don't want to times it by 0 because otherwise they'll have 0 HP. Anyway, it will add on defeats. So let's say you defeat 10 enemies. 10 divided by 50 is some number. But where it starts getting insane is when you've defeated 50, and it does 50 divided by 50, that's 1. And then the enemy now has 40 HP if they had 20. Yeah. And it keeps on going on from there. Same for attack, but a lot more forgiving. Same with defense, very forgiving, and speed, very forgiving, because speed is probably one of the busted attributes in this game. Again, scaling might change. I don't know. But yeah, so this will then send all this information over to enemy information. So the variant enemy info equals get parent, get enemy node, enemy information, and it sets the enemy to scaled enemy. And if you remember from here, we have the set enemy here, and it expects a dictionary. Okay, so that might have been very boring, but no worries. We now have the training. Woohoo! So this is the easy training bit. This is where the player side of things usually take part. So this is where you create all the new entries. So when the health button's pressed, it'll create one. And obviously, if there's already one that exists, it will be disabled for the time being. Or at least be locked behind some kind of level up thing where you can level it up. I'm planning on adding something like that to add up like to level up a training section, which I'll explain in a minute. And up here is how the training works. So this will start the training, and also it stops 2 trainings from running, which is pretty good. So now this is where it gets complicated. I've been on this for days, weeks, in fact. So let's start from the top. So we've got all these variables. So toggle training, this is how it works. Nothing in it is in order here, which is very bad of me, but okay, so toggle training is pretty interesting in my opinion. So if is running is false, which it usually starts with, it will start the training time and then sets it to true. But if the button is pressed again, it will stop the training basically. And I've added this for debug reasons because I'm still playing with it. Okay, and that's it. Attack training is so all the training is the exact same right now. So it chooses between whichever one's higher, play it in for attack or the level, and whichever one's higher, the level will be taken away from it. So if the level's higher, then you've basically got the base time, basically. But if the attack is higher, then you'll have slightly higher waiting time for your things. Wait, no, I'm confused. No, this is the range. It'll choose for the percentage basically. So let's say upper is let's say it's 10, right? And let's say level is also, let's say it's 5. Okay, sorry about that, I'm back. So let's say upper is 10 and level is 5. It should choose a random number from 0 to 5. Although I could be on it, I could be lying, so that's a 1 in 6 chance for you to succeed. No, actually, that's also a lie because there's 2 numbers here. So both of these will have to land on a number that's 0 to 5. And if they get the exact same number, it will add onto the max number, which is kind of a filler variable name. A bit weird. And then it adds a success, which will have to do with how the time is currently calculated. But yeah, so once the max number equals points till train, the player info gets 1 more attack, and the points till train is equals that times 2, which again is probably bad thingamabob scaling, but it'll be fine. Then the name label.text strength training attack is changed to the new number, and the max number is set to 0 because it isn't. It's just going to go through this again, and it's going to be like, wow, we already meet points till train once it gets enough. Sooner than imagined, and it's all the same for each of these. Speed training and HP training. This is how it starts. It calls back to this training one over here. I'm saying training quite a lot, I know. Update your buy is easy, and timer timeout is kind of how it, very scuffed how I got this working. So it searches for if attack is in the name of a name label, basically. Which might be an issue because I think I might have misspelled defense. No, I didn't. Good. I thought some places I add an S and sometimes use a C. So I didn't know if I got it wrong or not. Basically just checks and then it does it. And then print I am working is for debug reasons as well. And this if on tab thing is a remnant of an old system of how I got it to disable when I switched in tabs. It could probably be deleted and nothing would happen. So, wait, I should probably make sure because if on tab is already set to true. No, it isn't. Okay. There you go. Don't need that anymore. But yeah, that is my entire game so far. This one might have been a long devlog compared to future ones because this is the beginning of my uploads. But if you did enjoy the concept of this game, consider leaving a like, subscribing to keep up with my progress as well. Hopefully weekly updates. And there will be a Discord description, hopefully, that you can join and sign up to play test. Just one warning, the first playtest will look horrible because it will use Godot assets instead of ones that I'm gonna be making, which I plan to either make shorts on me making the art or live stream it, either or. But yeah, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to keep up, and comment what you think of my game.